welcome back to The Working Actor. I'm Natasha Gargiulo. Hope you guys are all doing well, and thanks for joining us for our live Working Actor series with one of the best casting directors in the world, and I say that truthfully. Richard Hicks is back with us. He's here to discuss his career as an Emmy award-winning casting director, share his insights on the current industry landscape, which is on everyone's mind right now, especially if you're an actor. And you know him, he's known for so many amazing films and series. Just recently on Netflix, we had The Luckiest Girl Alive with Mila Kunis. The last thing he told me, one of my personal favorites is Hairspray, of course. I mean, you can tell by the hair. Together, Roar, I mean, Zero Gravity, and so much more. And not only that, he is also a proud member and former president of the Casting Society of America, as well as a member of the Oscars Board of Governors Casting Division. Need I say more? Congratulations and welcome, Mr. Richard Hicks.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
You know what? Every time you hear people, ramble off all of your achievements and all of your titles, it must make you feel really good to know that after over 23 years in this industry, you are still, your game is at the top.
Well, yeah. I mean, like actors who are watching, I imagine you always kind of compare yourself to other people and like, I wish I was that. I wish I was that. But when you say it like that, it's very reassuring.
Well, we're really honored and thrilled that you're here again on Casting Workbook to kind of give insights to actors all around the world who are tuning in from one of the very best. And I wanted to go into, your career and how you started, et cetera, et cetera. But I think right now what's on everyone's mind, especially if you're an actor, is this, historic double strike that could be happening potentially. There's this dark cloud over us, and how Hollywood is grappling with this. And right now, we still don't know the game plan. It's unclear. It's 12 o'clock Eastern time here in Canada, and we don't know what the outcome is going to be. So can I have your input on how this is going to impact the industry?
Well, I mean, just practically, assuming the actors go out on strike, which I think they're poised to do. I think there's a vote this morning in LA to officially authorize it after they weren't able to reach an agreement. I think it will immediately shut down all movies and television, basically, with few exceptions. But in a way, given that we are in the midst of a writer's strike, I feel like this is not a bad move, because I was part of a group that helped unionize the work of casting directors, and I've been in that room with the AMPTP, and in my opinion, like, essentially, they may or may not be kind-hearted, but the only thing that matters to them is money.
Yeah.
And we will not, the striking, the union striking will only get what they want when the AMPTP decides that the cost of not giving to them is greater than the cost of giving it to them. And a total shutdown is better, I think, for actors and writers than the dribbling effect of a partial shutdown.
Yeah.
So I feel like that is not a bad thing. It's shame on them for making y'all get there, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of all of the events that are coming up soon, right? That could not happen without actors. Like the Venice Film Festival, the Toronto International Film Festival, all of these festivals, the Emmys, exactly.
Yep.
Everything that relies solely on having actors there to promote their work, and they're going to be, prohibited to, because if they strike, they're not allowed to attend these events and promote the films. So I feel badly for the, working actors who are trying to get work, but I also understand the reason why they're doing this and they're taking this stance. But already there's going to be films that are not going to go into production, like Gladiator 2 and Mortal Kombat, who are all right now, okay, let's push back everything. Like they kind of did. It's kind of like we were back in COVID.
Yeah, it is a little bit like COVID, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's talk about things that we do know. You are
Okay.
here to give us insight on how to become better at our craft as actors. And I know that you've got over 23 years experience. You've worked on so many amazing films and with so many great actors. Can I ask you which ones are some of your favorite, or is that like asking a parent to choose?
No, I mean, it varies, but yeah, I would say some of my personal favorites are Hella High Water.
Hmm.
The first three seasons of Curb Your Enthusiasm were great. Um, mm, doing little independent movies I find are closest to my heart, and so I get a lot of uh uh rocket fuel from that. And so even though they don't pay a lot, I enjoy doing them, and I feel like like Together or movies people might not have heard of, those are the ones that keep me going. I also cast for the Sundance Directors Lab, which is basically pro bono, but that's one of my favorite times of the year, every year.
What's the feeling like when you're watching Netflix and you see some of the series that you've cast as like #1 in Canada or #1
Oh,
in
it's fun.
the
Yeah, yeah,
US,
yeah.
and
Fun.
you're the one who was responsible for that?
Well, it's fun, and it makes me think, oh, great, somebody else will hire me now.
Oh, right. I'm sure because the more popular the series is, the more you're
Yeah,
popular.
yeah, you need a hit every once in a while to keep it held. Yeah.
So when you get a project, what's your casting process like? Are you instantly reminded of certain people on your roster or certain actors that you want to place in films? How do you go about it?
Well, I don't know. I think almost every casting person or anybody who would read a script has people that they gravitate towards, that they really are hoping they can find a role for, because of how much you vibe with what they kind of who they are or what they might offer. Um, so it's not as cut and dried as, oh, great, now I have a part here for that. It's a conversation between actors you love, what the producers and directors are telling you about what they need, and what you're inferring from all of that, and how what the kind of platform it's on, and the budget of it, and the time frame of it. um all is kind of a matrix of things, and then I go off and I start making lists of possible ideas. Or for the smaller parts, then we'll put out a breakdown and audition people.
Now, I'm sure, I was looking at this interview with certain cast members of Oppenheimer, and they said that when
Oh, yeah.
Christopher Nolan called them to offer them the role, they were like, "Are you kidding me? Of course I'm going to take this role." I can imagine that's similar for you. When you are seeking out actors to come in and audition for you, actors must be like, "Are you kidding me? Richard Hicks wants me to come in and read for a role."
Sometimes, like, I think part of what makes a good casting director is having your reach exceed your grasp. So we are always trying to find the absolute best, most impactful version of the part. You know what I mean? So I will ask actors to audition who say no, I don't want, I'm not willing to, and that happens quite often too.
Okay, so I know that we have a lot of people that are waiting to ask you some questions. We are going
Oh,
to do a Q&A with Richard Hicks just
great.
after talking a little bit more. But I'm wanting to ask you about the casting process and, how you go about asking actors to come in and prepare themselves for the role. What are some of the tips that you can give them? Because I know I had seen an interview with you where you said that a good actor doesn't chase for your approval.
Yeah, that's part of it. Yes, definitely. Uh, yes, because I mean, like, this isn't exactly what you're asking, but one tip I often give actors, or when I'm in a room with an actor and able to give them a note, which is its own rare thing nowadays. um, uh, I'd say to them, okay, that was good, nice job. That was the audition version of the part. Now let's do the documentary version of the part. And what I mean by that is the trying to please me, trying to do something so that you get a job that you need, is not the character's objective. and it serves as a static between me seeing what you're going to do, or the director and producer seeing what you're going to do, and your performance. When you just allow yourself to be observed and you only focus on what the character's doing and the camera watches you do that, that is very much like what we hope will be the movie or TV version of the part. You know what I mean? And when actors, it's a counterintuitive thing because you desperately want the job,
Right.
but you are well served to put it off to the side so that you can give that energy that was going to go here to being present and letting the camera observe you without giving it away that you need a job.
Yeah, but that's
Yeah.
really difficult to do because
Yes, it is. It's really hard to do.
every actor who walks in wants that job, right? And it's hard to let it
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. But then you got to make something more important than you needing that job. So what is it that's more important? Oh my God, I get to finally talk about this, or oh my God, this moves me because it reminds me of something in my past, or oh my God, this is something that I've gotta get out. And here's my this cracks me up. Here's my version. Whatever. Make it more important than the oh, I hope I get the scale plus 10 I'm gonna get.
Hmm. What is your definition of a really good actor? When you see a good actor walk into the room, what does that person look like?
It varies some, but generally I'd say it's somebody who, as they think and they feel, you can see into them. It's a version of does the camera love them? But some people, when they feel, they're kind of opaque, and some people, when they feel, you feel along with them. And if I can do that, then I feel like then that helps me uh really uh fall into them in a way. I'm not saying that exactly right, but what else? I would say, obviously somebody who's well prepared, somebody who is emotionally available, somebody who is ready to play, somebody who is smart about the choices they make. Those are all things which attract me to actors.
That's interesting. So when an actor does get a role, or sorry, when an actor does get an audition, what are the things that they should prepare before they come and see you?
Um, Obviously read the script, obviously try to get a vibe of what the project is in relation to what it is. Is it a sitcom? If it's a series, what are the other episodes? What's the feel of it? Because you can do the same thing and not have the tone of the show, and that'll be a reason for them to reject you. You want to be able to, and you do your best, and it may or may not work, but I feel like if you are cognizant of it, you're more likely to be in the mix of it. Um, no matter the size of the part, find something in there that is compelling and allows you to think creatively instead of fearfully or with your brain.
Mm,
You
hmm.
know, like
Yeah,
if you come from a place of basically a place of creativity, then it won't get you the job. It won't guarantee you the job, but it's more likely to help you be in the ballpark of getting the job,
that's
is
great
my
advice.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're just joining us now, which I see that some people are still coming on in, we are with Richard Hicks. He is from Hicks Casting, and he's here to give us some insight on the industry right now and give you some pointers on how to ace your auditions and also be better at your craft of acting. I know that you started off as an actor and then you went into casting directing. What was it about casting directing that was the deciding factor for you to change careers?
Because I didn't audition well. I was nervous and self-conscious, and I knew what good was, but I often didn't get there in my auditions. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. And so I just stopped acting. And then I fumfered around for a while and then fell into a job in casting. And I was a reader at auditions, because, they need people to read the scenes with. And that was really good for me because I got to act with them, but it wasn't my ass on the line. So I wasn't self-conscious. So I was good and they were better. Um, uh, and once I fell into a job in casting, what I loved about it was that I could be very close to that. I could look that moment in the eye, and yet I didn't have to be nervous about how I was gonna replicate that, or how I was gonna be as vulnerable or interesting as they are. And so I get to be right up close to it, and be in the room with it, and to have a job that is that fun and interesting and is a really fun thing for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's a lot of fulfilling moments of your job that you've just described right now. Like, well, what to you is the most fulfilling about casting? Is it when you see, your movie up on the big screen, or when you see an actor that you
No, when I see an actor that moves me, like either cracks me up or makes me cry or whatever, but like when I see an actor that does something to me, I just find it kind of magical that actors, that we as people, if we're willing to and able to and have the gifts to, can do that. And so I just think it's kind of amazing. So being in the room when it happens is my favorite part of it.
Can we talk a little bit about Roar? That
Yeah.
series has an incredible cast, and Nicole Kidman, Issa Rae, and it's a dynamic, different group of women in
Yep.
that cast. But I also know that you did a huge audition for that, where you had cast over like 200 or 300 just regular actors to come on
Sure.
in,
Yeah.
and you tried to discover some new faces. What was that like, and what was the feeling like looking at new actors and discovering new talent?
Well, that's why I guess it's why I do it. I like, you put your detective hat on and you see what you can sniff out. And I, like somebody new who I am enamored of is like a little nugget of gold. And so I'm like trying to pan for gold. And when I find it, that's why I do it.
Yeah, as someone just said, it's like treasure hunting,
Yeah, it's
obviously.
a little like
Yeah,
treasure hunting, right?
treasure.
And the treasure is your emotional availability. So don't lose connection with that, because that's why you have the treasure in you.
Yeah.
And
It's
so the treasure isn't in me, it's in you, the actor. It really is.
there seems to be a lot of challenges right now for actors.
Mhm.
Aside from, auditioning and getting it right, and the competition out there, especially with, Zoom now and doing
Yep.
auditions online, et cetera, et cetera. But now we also have AI, which we have to think about. And I think that's another reason why the actors are striking, is because of AI and piracy and all
Mhm.
the things that come into play. Can you tell us, or maybe kind of reassure actors a little bit about not to be afraid of AI, or should we be concerned of AI?
Uh, I think, uh, I think you should be concerned about it. And I think it is smart for SAG to push back to create some parameters around AI, because right now, crowds, 1,000 people crowd scenes of extras are often usually artificially done, and people with the dots on their face, motion capture of a particular person is a version of AI, if you will. um, and uh, I think the technology is not there yet, but it will be one day, and it is smart for the union to circumscribe that, so the actors aren't left aren't left powerless in that equation. That said, I think what is unique about humans and human feeling and authenticity of feeling AI isn't nearly close to yet. So the more you can be unique and individual and authentic, that is a bulwark, I think, against AI, because it'll take a few, we'll all be dead before their AI is good enough to do that.
You know, that is comforting to know what you just said that, because I was just going to ask you, what do you think is the equivalent to act for actors to continue, making money in this industry? I think the music industry kind of warned the movie industry that AI was coming, but
Yeah.
musicians tour, so that's how they generate money. So what's the equivalent for actors to continue generating money if AI becomes big?
Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I don't think I know. Uh,
I guess we'll find out because we're going to have to figure it out, right?
yeah, I mean, it might be, it'll definitely be something around the authenticity that a human brings, as opposed to the ease that a non-human brings. I feel like it'll be something around that, but that's all I got.
Yeah. Okay. So you've cast for a couple of streamers, two of them on Netflix, which we had mentioned before. Is casting for streaming different from casting for a network or for a film?
No, not really. Every company that I've worked for has a different set of basically arbitrary parameters that they like and things that they're important to them. And uh and and it's there might be no, I would say no. I mean, there used to be a difference between TV and movies often, or TV series and movies often, but I think that difference is less. So no, I think it's each of them are full of hooey and kind of cool sometimes, the streamers or the networks. So same diff.
Yeah, but I do know that theater acting is something that you're very fond of. Can you explain?
Sure.
Yeah, can you explain how you love the fact that actors are from theater, they have a theater background and what that brings to their craft?
Because an actor in theater is in charge of their performance to a degree that is not true in movies and television, that they kind of direct themselves as they go, or through and it's happening live in front of you. And because of that, I feel like they have, as a rule, a more self-possession and more how they access their own power as part of their gig. I think that's, obviously true in TV and movies when somebody is emotional, but once your performance is done, it gets cut and sorted and edited out or whatever happens. So I trust, when in doubt, I'll trust a theater's actor to deliver, because I know they need to when they go walk on the stage.
Hmm. On the same subject, when do you think, how can an actor go from being considered from, small roles to maybe larger leading roles? What can they do in order to get on people's radar that they want bigger roles, or how can they become?
Everybody wants bigger roles.
Yeah.
I think that's a given. I'm not sure if it's the answer y'all want to hear, but I think it's be awesome all the time, and we'll come find you. Be the kind of actor who looks like they're ready,
Hmm.
and if we're smart, I'll see it. And like if you do a great job in your two lines, which is a hard thing in and of itself. If you do a great job on two lines, it's my job to remember you, so that I will try to take a flyer on you for the bigger part the next time that comes around.
Okay, so that's great feedback, but not every actor has that feedback after an audition. So when is the appropriate time for actors to ask for feedback from you?
Uh, let's see. I don't know that there's a hard rule about it. I feel like anytime, um, when I'm in the middle of, how would I say this, gathering the auditions and trying to figure out what I'm going to do with them, is not a good time, because I don't know what I think relative to the other people. And usually people are asking for feedback so they find out if they should hang on to hope about it, as opposed to how can I improve my performance about it. Um, um, uh, and so I won't have an answer for them in that time. Um, um, that's interesting. I would say maybe as a vague rule of thumb, a few days after the deadline that you got on the self-tape request.
Okay, so 2 to 3 days, we can ask for you for feedback.
That's that's it, shooting from the hip version. Yeah.
All right. So we were talking about AI too, and we're talking about social media now. And a lot of actors feel that they need to have a really good presence on social media to help them get discovered. Are you for or against social media for actors?
I'm neutral on it. I used to be disinclined, but now I've found, sometimes I found like comedians who do a funny thing on TikTok, and I'll know of them where I wouldn't have. Um, I think uh, uh, social media for its own end, so as to be connected, and is more Kardashian than anything. And I find that not about acting really. That's about
Yeah.
trying to be famous. And that is, a lot of people get into that. It's just not my jam. I want something that I can believe in underneath the need to be famous. Um, that's what I got.
All right. Okay, no problem. So we're going to go and take your questions now in the Q&A because we've got a lot of
Great.
them coming in that people want to know from. So I will try and get to all of them or most. I'm going to go with Oliver Ocampo. He wants to know, should Canadians in smaller cities, i.e. Montreal, that's where I'm from, hi
Yep.
there, Winnipeg and Calgary, move to bigger cities to get more work, or is it better to stay where you are and expand from there?
If you're talking about bigger cities to Canada, I don't really know the answer. Um, it's double-edged. Uh, um, I'm,
I guess if you
I think basically, if I gun in my head, I'd say yes, but there's a lot of caveats to it, because I feel like in what you want is to be surrounded by people who up your game and make you better, and help you get through your blocks and things like that. So are you going to do that in a town where you're the biggest fish? I'm not sure.
Mhm.
In this self-tape world where the authenticity of the person has a value in a way that it may not have had before, you putting yourself on tape for the thing in the small town is not that much different than you going to Winnipeg and doing it. But on the whole, I would say surround yourself with people who up your game. So what does that mean? What does that look like?
All right, we are going to help Edward Stack right now. He's got a
Okay.
self-tape audition later this afternoon. So Richard, let's help him out, okay?
Yeah, sure.
They asked him for two takes. One is a medium and one is a close-up.
Uh-huh.
Should he do two different approaches on the read?
Um, yes, is the short answer, is what I would say.
Do
Yeah.
two different ones, Edward.
Yeah, that's my like I tend to pick the close up because we can see, warts and all, or the finest points of it. Um um and if I like the person, I'll make sure to pick the take I like the best. So, and if they so yeah, I would say do different.
All right, so two different takes all the time. Great advice. Everybody should have written that down. Sharon has a question, and I think this is on a question that all actors have. Every time they give you a deadline to submit your audition, is it best to submit your tape as early as possible or leave it to the last minute? Do you judge if people just hand it in at the last minute?
No, I don't. No. As long as because I've set the deadline, so it's on me. Um, um, no, I don't judge. What I do is I go through, if we're talking self-tapes, I go through all of the self-tapes I received once, and put the ones that are yeses and maybes off to the side, and then I go and through and I look at that smaller group again to see what I really want, because until I know how many great choices I have, I don't know how I feel about the maybes or things like that. So you doing it before the deadline or way before the deadline doesn't really matter to me.
Are you still enjoying this self-tape submission kind of way of auditioning people, or do you prefer going to back in
It's
person?
double-edged. It's double-edged. It's double-edged. I mean, what I love about it is how it is allows me to open up the aperture in a way that wasn't practical before. So instead of spending 3 days auditioning and spending 10 to 15 minutes with each person, I can see many more people for that first round and take flyers on people and try different versions of it that I might not have had time for. Because I'm going to be gracious to everybody who comes in. So even if you're not right, I'll let you have your shot, which eats up the day. And um and this allows me to not have to see more people in that first round. I definitely miss the intimacy of of being able to give the actor a secret that helps them, helps it pop in a way.
Yeah, well, you're giving us lots of secrets today, so thank you so much.
Great, bring it.
How many, when you're auditioning, how many auditions do you go for maybe one role? Is it like hundreds?
Like I set it up, it depends on how much time I have and how much I feel like I know what the part needs to be, and how demanding the part might be. I like as few as, like, if we're talking self tapes, I would say as few as 20 and then or up.
Hmm, okay.
But yeah, because like I don't yeah, that's how many.
Okay. This is from Jace. As a casting director, you hunt for the right actors to come in for your auditions that you believe would be fit for the role. What is a good way to become more noticed by casting directors for bigger productions?
Well, similar to like what I was saying with being ready for bigger parts.
Yeah.
Um, go be awesome in your auditions. Go self-start things that you can do. Like actors, they have so little power most of the time. They believe that they are powerless, but you're not. The power is in you, the actor. Um, uh, and go do scenes online with your friends and get notes from them. Go to stay in class. Put up your YouTube comedy video, and maybe and I'll see it and I'll like it. That kind of thing where you can put content, for lack of a better word, out in the world, like I don't know, like little fish in the sea. My job is to go find those. So put it out there and let me have a look at it.
Now, I think this is something you can appreciate because you started off as an actor, and we've got Brett Holland says that he's struggling a bit when he goes through a slow period. So, how do you get that mindset out of, going through a rough financial situation? Your mentality isn't, up to par.
Find something that is helpful for you mentally. For me, about 4 years ago, I started doing hot yoga, and I find it fantastic for me. Because in addition to making me feel physically good, it calms my mind down, and then and it reminds me that often you are choosing the emotional state you are comfortable being in a moment, and that allows you to imagine that you could choose a more helpful emotional state rather than being focused on, I don't have any money, I don't know, what am I going to do, what about, because from that place, that's kind of where I was as an actor. From that place, it's very unlikely that you're going to do interesting work, so find something that allows you to turn it off turn it off so that you can, and and that's woodworking or singing or whatever it is, so that you can turn it off so that when you look back at it, you are not full of all that stuff.
When it comes down to 2 or 3 actors who are all great for the role,
Mhm.
what are some of the things that puts one over the top for you? That's from Justin. Good question, Justin.
Let's see. We talk it through with the director and producers to figure out what are the shades of difference that might be helpful, and that varies from project to project. So I can't say that there is one thing that will put you over. Go be awesome, do invest totally, be as good as you can be, and then when you don't get it, if you don't get it, let it go completely so that you're absolutely 100% available for the next one, instead of have that residual of like, ooh, I didn't get that one, what does that mean, and what should I be doing differently, and blah, 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 blah. All that stuff is stuff that'll drive you nuts and keep you from accessing the full extent of your power as an actor.
That is so hard to let it go because
It's so hard. It's really hard. That's why I have great respect and love for the people who are willing or compelled to do this for their living. But I find it a beautiful metaphor for
yeah.
for for moving through your life. I do.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm going to take a couple more questions and then we'll have to wrap this up. I'm going to go with a question about tattoos and piercings. When
Yeah.
you see an actor walk in with some tattoos and piercings, is your first thought, okay, cool, they've got piercings, or how am I going to cover this up?
Okay, cool.
Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It doesn't make a difference as long as they
Not
don't.
for me. No, no, no. I mean, like, they can cover it up, so they'll do it if they want to.
Yeah. And we
Or
talked.
not, or or they don't like you, like your audition enough to bother. Whatever, you got to go with what go. The chips fall where they fall.
Absolutely. So we were talking about all the things that we can do to perfect our craft to audition for you, but what are some of
Uh-huh.
your pet peeves that no actor should do, or maybe a story that you have that you said, no, that's probably the worst audition ever?
Somebody I know.
Oh, this is going to be
I
good.
don't know if they were somebody when they were working, when I was working for my old boss. She gave him a note and he said, "What the fuck are you saying? This is I'm not that's stupid. I'm not going to do that." That is not that's something that happened.
All right. Okay. Don't be aggressive, obviously, though.
Don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
We're here to help you. We're here to try to help you.
Yeah.
We
But
are, most of us.
it's so intimidating walking into that room and auditioning, and
Yep.
knowing that you've got the competition sitting outside too, that, once you're in, someone else is going to come in and you don't know if you got it or not. So
Yep.
it's
Yep. And that, but like that is a baby metaphor for how do you walk into the set and everybody is better than you and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and how do you not freeze up, and and the director's an asshole. Like, how do you deal with the things that you are out of your control? How do you deal with that? And if you can't deal with that well in the audition, then who knows if you're going to be able to deal well with it when it's time to do it. So you'd be smart to get good at that.
Yeah. Are you constantly casting when you're walking about? I know that you were just somewhere, you dropped someone off at the airport. Are you constantly looking at people and saying, "Ooh, that person would be great for this
Yeah.
role"? You are?
Yeah, not all the time, but yes, like interesting characters, if you will, interesting people are people I hope I remember. As I get older, I forget more, but I try to remember as much as I can.
Can you let us in on any projects that you're working on now that we are going to be seeing?
Let's see. There's a movie with Liam Neeson that's coming that they're still editing. There's a movie that I did last year that's kind of a horror movie with Wilson in it. And then there's a couple of movies to which I'm trying to attach name actors, but all of that, my work is about to stop, because during the strike, we're not, as I understand it, agents are not allowed to take offers to their clients and stuff like that. So we're stopped too. So we're in it with you too. So go get the deal you deserve, is what I say.
And in the meantime, while all productions are stopped, do you offer any workshops or any classes? Are you
I
allowed?
don't. No, I no, no, I don't. Um, um, uh, but I would encourage you to get into a class. Now there's fucking no excuse, you
Exactly.
know.
Yeah.
There's no excuse to do all the things that you can do by yourself. So now is the time you do scenes with your friends and you film them and you give each other notes, or you go to a teacher who does the same thing, or you do, and you do other things to help yourself become more nimble, more deep, more smart, more funny, more whatever.
Yeah, this has been such an amazing hour with you, Richard. It's so insightful, and I'm sure you've given a lot of insight and feedback to all the actors who are tuning in. Thanks so much. I guess we
Oh,
still
of
have to
course.
wait and see. The game plan is still unclear with the strike, but I'm hoping to get you back on the Casting Workbook's Working Actor in the fall, where we can resume this conversation and talk about more of your amazing movies and series that you've cast. Thanks so much for being
Sure.
here.
Happy to do it. Good luck, everybody.
You're awesome. We've had you twice now, and you've always given some amazing advice. So thanks so much for being on The Working Actor.
My pleasure.
And I want to thank everyone for tuning in from all around the world. That was really cool. It was great to see all the people pop up from Canada and Europe and in the United States. Thanks for joining The Working Actor. We'll be live again soon. Till then, have a great day, everyone. And thanks to Emily Buchanan, who is my producer for The Working Actor, who's amazing too. And we'll see you soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks, Richard.
Sure. Thank you.